We'd like to begin this vlog by thanking everyone who's watched our off-grid tour of Skye. Thank you so much for all your support and also your lovely comments. As requested by some of you, here's our summary of the trip, along with our favourite highlights from the Isle of Skye.
Hello everybody,
Hiya.
welcome to the channel.
Yeah, hello. So we've been promising that we would do a summary, didn't we, of our Skye trip?
I think we described it as highlights.
Highlights, that's it.
We're not really going to do highlights, we're just going to do a quick summary, and then Ellie's going to pick her 3 top places we visited and I'm going to pick my top 3.
And hopefully if you go to Skye you might visit some of them as well.
Yeah, but before we get into that, I just wanted to do just a summary of some of the facts and figures, the costs, etc. So I've had to write it down. So we had 15 nights, and that was 16 days, and we did all that time we did 1,676 miles, and that was actually, according to the Fiat onboard computer, that was 46 hours of driving.
That's a lot of driving, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is a lot of driving, yeah. It didn't seem that bad, actually. No. But
a lot of our miles, it would be fair to say, is getting from South Wales up to Skye, isn't it, really? Yeah. Not so much driving on Skye.
No. Now, if you believe the computer on the Fiat Ducato, our average fuel consumption for the whole trip was 30.7. I didn't think that was too bad, considering some of the journeys on Skye. I did separately record what was happening on the motorways, and that was higher. That was nearly 33. It was 32.7. So I was quite pleased with that figure. Okay, so some of the figures on spending. On parking and Aires, we spent £37.20, which I thought was pretty good, really, considering you can pay that much for one night on a campsite. So we're quite pleased with that.
What did that include?
That included a couple of visits to Caravan and Camping Aire, campsite, but we only used it as an Aire. And they charged us £10 for dumping waste, filling up with water, and in fact having a shower as well. So that was for both of us, so £10, yeah. We paid that twice. That was at Kinloch campsite. Another £5 we spent at Auchtertyre.
Yes. Yeah.
That was for emptying and filling of water. And there were a few just general parking costs. So yeah, altogether £37.20. Fuel costs, LPG. Now bear in mind, this is a sort of a mixed thing really, because we didn't use much LPG for cooking. We tended to cook electric. Having the lithium batteries, we were able to cook on our induction hob, which in fact heats a kettle up quicker than the gas. But of course it was sub-zero a lot of nights, so we did use quite a lot for the heating, and the total spend on LPG was £30.44.
Yeah, and we were having to replenish it about every 3 to 4 days, weren't we, because it was so cold.
Yeah.
So we were sort of filling up regularly.
We probably could have pushed it a bit more than that, but we didn't have a lot of confidence in the gauge, did we?
No, we didn't. And plus, the weather was that cold, we didn't want to run out of LPG. But yeah, so to keep us warm for a couple of weeks cost us about, what was it?
£30.44. These figures, when we got back, obviously, if there was any empty tanks or in diesel or LPG, we filled up. So these figures are complete from full to full at the end. So they're quite comprehensive figures. and the diesel was £472.37. And again, that was from a full tank back to a full tank.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, that would be more expensive now because even in the past couple of months, it's gone up a bit, hasn't it?
Well, even while we were there, the prices were
Going up.
rising. So some of it I bought in the £1.64 a litre. But by the end of it, it was £1.70 a litre.
Yeah.
And of course, it's even more than that now. So yeah, it's very difficult to work the costings out per gallon like that because the prices were constantly changing.
But that is what we spent, isn't it? £472.37 was our total fuel cost for the whole Skye trip.
Yeah. And food and drink is another category we got. And this is food and drink when we were eating out or fish and chips or something. We didn't spend an awful lot because we tend to cook in the van mostly anyway. But the food and drink bill in total for the 2 weeks was £78.51. And that did involve at least one night of a fairly boozy nature.
It's all not too bad, really. That's cheap at half the price.
Yeah. That was quite a few pints of bitter that night,
Yeah.
I've got a separate charge here for travel. Well, the only extra travel we did was on a ferry, and that was £16.50. So, in total... Oh, there was also general groceries.
Yeah.
Now, of course, this is a funny one to
grey
add on.
area, really, yeah, because you eat anyway, don't you, if you're at home?
We would have spent at home, we would have spent something.
Yeah.
But probably we had a bit more...
snacky stuff,
sort of junk food,
easy to cook stuff rather
Yeah.
than cooking from scratch. So it was a bit dearer than it would have been at home.
So we spent £153 on groceries.
Yeah. Good old co-op at Broadford.
Yeah, they loved it when we went there.
Oh, yeah.
So altogether, we spent nearly £800
Yes.
for the 15 nights, 16 days.
Yeah. Yeah, £788 and 4p to be precise.
Yes, to be precise.
For being precise. So I think all in all, that was actually really good value when you think of the distance we travelled.
Yeah.
That's not bad for a 2-week holiday, is it really, all included? I think that's good.
We should be heading back there now.
I know, makes us want to go back.
Okay, what we're going to do now is just, Ellie and I have picked our top 3 places that we went to. And this is quite difficult, really, to
limit it. Yeah.
To limit it. But I've also considered what I was able to do with photography and the drone, because there are some things that made the whole experience of an area even better because I was able to put the drone up. So anyway, it's my choice. So I've picked them.
You go with what you jolly well like.
So you'll see them coming up in a moment. The first one that I picked was Melt Falls, because the first time we went there, the weather was pretty awful. I wasn't able to put the drone up, but this time the weather was absolutely perfect, and the falls were in terrific quantities. It was an amazing sight to see.
Yeah.
And I was able to get the drone up. There are restrictions on flying a drone there, but I kept the drone well away from the cliffs because you have to watch out for nesting birds. So I kept it well away from the cliffs. You might have noticed I didn't get too close, but that was deliberate. But so that was one of my favourites.
And wasn't that because also the first time that you'd actually sent the drone out somewhere where you definitely couldn't get it back if it crashed?
Yeah, I was a bit nervous about
it was
that.
going out over the sea, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the first time.
Funny thing with the drone, but I've now realised that when you send it off, you have to think there's a chance you're never going to see it again.
Yeah, you just have to go for it, don't you?
Yeah.
It feels reckless sometimes, but it just has to be done, doesn't it?
Yeah, you won't get the best of it if you don't. Right, what's your favourite one?
Well, my first choice is the Old Man of Storr. It's special to me because it's the second time that we've been there, and I absolutely love it. It is one of my favourite places on Skye. But for the first time in a long time, I actually went on a walk by myself. Those of you who know me will know that I tend to take Graham with me everywhere, and it was just one of those days where I actually felt able to do that. And although I didn't get to the top, it was just incredible to be able to walk halfway up the Old Man of Storr.
You might have seen in the drone shots that I did that Ellie actually appears in the drone shot as a tiny little dot.
So it's not where's Wally, it's where's Ellie.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed because I'd had this idea that I knew we were going to be doing a lot of walking. So I wanted to sort of, if you like, save myself a bit, and I wanted to send the drone up to the Old Man of Storr. But unfortunately, what I didn't realise, there's a hill, then it levels out, then there's another hill. The way it worked with the drone, with the altitude limit, it was going out of sight of the transmitter. So I kept getting signals that it was losing. I was losing control of it, so I couldn't send it up as far as I wanted. The only way to have done that would have been to walk there, and I didn't realise that straight away. So I didn't get the drone shots that I really wanted. So we'll do that again sometime.
We will. We'll both walk up them next time. But yes, that has to be amongst my top 3, both because it's so beautiful, it was snowy, and I did it on my own.
My second one was Loch Laogh. Now this was a lovely little wild camp we had. We'd found some nice shelter that night. The van was in the lee of the wind, so it was sheltered. And we had no idea that these lochs were right behind us. And we had a fantastic walk. You could see the Karang sort of above you, and you could see eagles flying up there. It was absolutely fantastic. Ellie had a chat with a sheep. And
always chatting with sheep.
it was really, really good, wasn't it? I loved it.
And it was just a surprise, wasn't it, really, to sort of be able to do that.
Yeah.
It was just a lovely surprise.
So what's your second one?
My second choice, this is really difficult because I've got so many that I want to choose from.
No, you can only have 3.
I know. Has to be the Karang, because that, to me, it was the most, it's actually not even the walk that was the best bit, it was the drive up the mountain.
Oh, it did get a bit scary.
It was the scariest, honestly, it was the scariest drive I think I've been on for a good many years. You know, the road was that narrow, that broken, that icy, with a sheer drop, and all of those things scared the bejeebers out of me.
It didn't come across in the video, but quite a few times I was
really
getting wheel spin. And I was trying to find the right gear to not get wheel spin. And it was quite hard, and I was getting slower and slower, and I thought, if I stop, I'll never get started. But in the end, it was all right.
Yeah, and I think that was it. I mean, it sounds funny to say one of my best things was one of the scariest, because at the time I really was terrified, to be honest with you. But it was quite exhilarating to have achieved it. It felt like a real sense of achievement when Merlin got to the top, didn't it, really?
We should have been aware, but we weren't. When we came around a hairpin bend and just came over the crest, neither Ellie or I were aware that there was a car park there. And it was a bit of a shock to suddenly see civilization at the top, which was nice because it enabled us to be able to put the drone up and Ellie to go for a walk.
And to also realise there's an easy way down.
Yeah.
If only we'd known.
Yeah, that was down towards Uig, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. What's your next choice then?
My third one was when we went to Blubeen, or Blubeen, I think it's pronounced more. So various people have told me. Blubeen. That was a lovely park-up area. It is designed for motorhomes or overnight stops as well. And the first afternoon we had there, we didn't find a very good walk, did we?
No.
But the second day we went and we got up to the waterfall up towards the Blue Mountains. And of course it started snowing and hailing.
It's freezing.
It was so exhilarating though, wasn't it?
It was. It
yeah.
just felt so good to be alive up there, didn't it? And again, that sense of achievement of actually sort of struggling. And it was, we were against the elements there, and to actually do that, we were so proud to get up there, weren't we, at our age?
Poor Ellie's found that her coat, the zip burst. It wouldn't stay zipped up, it kept bursting open.
What a time to do it.
So she had to keep holding it together, but
In more ways than one, actually, on that mountain. I was holding it together, I assure you.
It was good though, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, it was exhilarating. I would love to go back there, to be honest with you.
I did feel on top of the world, really, even though we weren't even a third of the way up the mountain. Right, what's your final one?
My final choice, I think, has to be, it's a toss-up between Stephen's Castle and Duntulm Castle. I mean, Stephen's Castle was really special, isn't it? I mean, maybe we should have 3.5 or
Castle
something.
Moyle.
Castle Moyle, yeah. Maybe we'll have to sneak a little bit of that into the vlog. But I did like Duntulm Castle. I think I'll have to go for that as my third choice. Again, we got the place to ourselves, and it's just the scenery around it. It's right on the edge of the coast.
You just like that place because that's where I slipped over.
You fell over on your bottom, didn't you? Yeah, I resisted the urge to laugh. It was hard, but I did. And also, there's a real feel to that castle. I mean, we were a little bit cheeky because we climbed over the fence and actually did go in, didn't we?
Yeah.
It wasn't that secure, saying you couldn't go in. They kind of recommended that you didn't because it's a bit dangerous. But again, I think that was a let's do it anyway kind of thing. And it was just amazing being amongst the old ruins. And it has a real feel to it. You could really sense the history as you walk through the ruins. Very atmospheric, very beautiful, very desolate place.
Yeah. And because I'm now sitting here thinking of all the places that we haven't mentioned, like Elgold, like Torrin.
Beautiful.
And then Tuscavague.
Yeah, which we only had a really quick visit to at the end of our trip on our last afternoon. There were so many. It's really hard to limit it to sort of 3 each. But basically, we just wanted to share a little bit of that with you to summarise it, really.
Yeah, I think we could actually go back and if we retract and did exactly the same places on the same days, like repeat them, I think we still have a damn good time.
Oh yeah, and I mean there were so many places we never went back to that we'd been to the first time, like the Fairy Pools, the Fairy Glen. Both of those are beautiful. I mean they're big touristy places, so very busy at this time of year when this vlog's coming out.
Yeah,
but they're worth a visit. I think for us though, a lot of them are the slightly off the beaten track places that are maybe not quite as popular.
One of the things that made it was that and we used Park for Night and Search for Sites and Google Maps to find places, and they were pretty empty, all of them.
Yeah.
A couple of times overnight we were the only people there, weren't we?
Yeah, we
were.
No,
2 or 3 times. No, more than that.
Most
we
of
were the
time.
only people there.
Yeah, which was lovely, wasn't it, to be honest? And we were very lucky with the weather too, for the time of year. So, hope you've enjoyed hearing our little summary of our trip to Skye. If you've got any questions at all and you think there's anything we should have mentioned that we haven't, or any information that you want from us about our trip or the logistics about it, then do let us know in the comments, won't you?
Okay, everybody, we're gonna end it here. I hope you found that informative and interesting, and we'll catch you soon on the next one.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.